Hello, hello! Today we are keeping things super simple with a sketchbook tour, but this is kind of a special sketchbook that I made. This was from like August 2025 to the end of the year. So this is like the end of 2025 sketchbook. Time has passed and there's other things I'm working on now, but this sketchbook is kind of special to me because like it kind of brought me back to making art and having fun with making art and being like, oh yeah, this is actually something that I really love doing and I'm passionate about and I should share it more. I don't know, this is very special to me, so I thought I would share it. It also has a lot of stuff that I worked on with my making comics class. I'll be like showing some of those projects as well. Yeah, we'll just dive right into it. For the stickers, I will say that all of these were either gifts or from random sticker boxes. So I don't know who did any of them. I'm sorry, I can't give credit for any of that. Let's make sure that we're centered here. Okay, yeah, this is just like a little how to make your own zine that I put in, and I totally put it in backwards, but that's fine. I can still read it either way. Here is the first official page. This one I actually did the pencils for like the first time I drew it, which was let's see, August 21st of 2025. Just kind of giving my feedback on my feelings about the sketchbook. I was like, this is an interesting notebook. It's blank, but comes with a guide for lines and a grid. And then I also found like a spine label stickers, which I thought was really cool. It's like, and then I realized it can't erase for shit though. The erasing on the sketchbook is just not very good, but I kind of switched to doing more inks later on, so it's fine. Similar here, just kind of some doodles I was doing, trying to work on like environments, and I did all the inks first, and then way later I came back and added color. Some more studies of just some buildings in the area while I was waiting for the bus. Tattoo design for my girlfriend. She wants a little baby dragon with a bunch of dice around them. And we are skipping some things. That's what all the sticky notes are about in here, is because I do have some like not safe for work stuff in the sketchbook, and we're just gonna skip those. Doodles of Bobby from K-pop Demon Hunters because I love him. He's so cute. These were studies for, I was at a friend's house and they do like swordplay stuff. I forget what the official name is, but I went to it just to kind of hang out. And while I was there, I just did studies of the people who, as they were doing their practice fights, and I just replaced it with like real weapons. Since everybody was moving around, it was a little hard to kind of just capture like what it actually looked like, accuracy and whatnot. I feel like I finally kind of got into it on this page. This was an earlier video of sketches for that, of just cute anime girls in cute sweaters. I've got Misty from Pokemon, Marin from My Dress Up Darling, Ranma from Ranma 1/2, and Shizuka from 100 Girlfriends. Then this was just a sketch of a tattoo design that a friend of mine was doing on the back of my neck, and I do have that. Some SpongeBob doodles. I think I was just inspired by like the expressions of SpongeBob because they're like really loud and fun, and I was like, man, I should practice that. And then I tried drawing him and I went, no, that's okay. Just a cute hairstyle. I wanted to see if I could make this hairstyle where she has like the cat ears without like actually having cat ears. And this was for a comic idea I had that didn't come through. That's kind of what sketchbooks are all about, is just trying, like, experimenting and trying new things and testing different ideas. I think it was for a contest, but I can't remember what the premise the prompt was. But I remember I wanted it to be about like how even though you work really hard, you do still need your people to be around you and to give you support and to lean on that community. And that's what I wanted it to be about. Hey, and here we start getting into the second semester of my making comics class. And this assignment was for, we had to find 2 pre-existing comic pages, and one of them we had to remake as it was. And I did a Betty and Veronica one, which I will show later. And then the other one we had to parody, so we had to find a page that we liked and then remake it with either a new set of characters or in your own way. And I chose a Ranma 1/2 page and replaced the characters with Superman and Batman. I really liked drawing Superman, actually. He's such a ball of sunshine, or he should be. Like that is my favorite characterization of Superman, is him just being a ball of sunshine. And more of working on that Batman comic, that Batman Superman comic. Just some sketches of me. I think it was working on a video and some sort of like a reaction thing. Another comic assignment I was kind of preparing for, we had to do a horror comic. I don't really do horror a lot. I'm not a big like horror fan, so I started with just looking up things that are horror-esque that I really liked and responded to kind of figure out what it is that I would like to do. I think this was from Blood on the Tracks or something like that. It's a manga I haven't read. Some studies from the summer Hikaru died. And yeah, I was just playing with ideas. The first thing, like I knew I wanted a monster right away. And this was my first attempt at doing a layout where I was thinking that it was about a guy looking for his wife in the woods after she went missing. And when he finds her, she has either already been killed and has been possessed by something, or she has just been transformed and she ends up killing him. Kind of like tragic. I guess maybe tragic horror is the word. I don't know. This was like my first thumbnails of the comic I actually ended up going with. And like I said, I'll show that later. The character I made is a girl named Paige, and I based her directly off of Betty Page. Did a lot of work trying to figure out how to draw the freaking monster because I don't draw beasties very often. I was trying to figure out like what to do. So I was just doing some studies of different monsters, trying to figure out like the proportions and the shape language, things that were giving me inspiration. So I did the Nowhere King, and again, I was just trying to figure out like the shape language, but that's the kind of like monster I really wanted to go for, something that's kind of uncanny and weird. And I think this was where I was like, okay, I think that's it. Yeah, and this was the page where I'm like, oh, I got it, I got her. I think switching it, the other thing is that I wanted the monster to be a girl. The idea is that Paige walks in and sees the monster eat a person, and at first she thinks that Paige is going to like freak out, but then it turns out she's actually in on it, and they're like in this fucked up like monster lesbian relationship. And I'm like, yeah, I want her to be a girl. And in the final piece, I don't think you can tell that the monster is a female at all, but it also did make me realize that we have a dire lack of female werewolves, and we should get more of those. And for something completely different, I think I started rewatching My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. It's one of my like weird comfort shows that I'll just put on in the background sometimes, and I started doing little chibi doodles of each of the characters. This was going to be a Rainbow Dash, but I didn't like it, so I switched to a different pose. Not really much to say about these, they're just cute. Some sketches of an OC I have, I don't know, I guess it's from a project I did years ago. I wrote a jukebox musical using 21 Pilots songs, which I don't think I'll ever let it see the light of day unless people are interested, unless somebody's like, hey, I want to hear about this cringy 21 Pilots musical that you made that means a lot to you, but you're never going to touch again, then I might. But yeah, more working on that horror comic. I needed to make sure that I got the face munching correct. These were character designs for a 2-page comic that I was doing for one of my partners. Yeah, just working on planning it and getting the thumbnails done. Another comic project for class. Lana is so cute. We had to make a humor zine and we had 8 pages to work with. 4 pages to make whatever comics we wanted, and then 2 pages where we had to make one that was advertisements, like fake advertisements, and then the other that was some sort of game or some sort of craft thing. Anyway, it was around Halloween time, so I immediately was just like, cute monster girls. I already did a monster girl for the horror comic, so why not just continue on that trend? What I ended up doing was making it to where these 3 monster girls are on like a game show and are and the game show is called Love Bites, and so they get to do like little questionnaires and talent show, and in the end the 3 girls just keep flirting with each other and then they leave together. It's very silly. So that was my first attempt at like a vampire girl, and we will come back to that idea later, but first I guess I ended up working on a different assignment, which was a 2-page sci-fi or fantasy comic we had to do. And I wasn't really sure what to do with this one, so at first I just did some sketches of a character, and I just kind of fell in love with her. I was just like, oh my god, she's so cute. And I was like, okay, I want to make something about her. And I just made this cute little 2-page comic where she's wandering out in the woods to find a rare herb to bring back to her friend whose kid is sick because they are in lesbians together. Back to the monster girls. This was me working on my Lucy Westenra for my vampire character. The 3rd girl, I wanted to do the Flatwoods monster. So we have Vivi Flatwoods, and I played with like quite a few different ideas of how to do her because I wanted her to be like really cute, very round and cute, and the one I really ended up going with was this design. Yeah, and I was just working on figuring out like how to draw her proportions, how to get like her expressions. Oh, I guess I was wrong. It was actually 2 like craft pages that we needed to do. Because the other one I did was a coloring page, and this was me working on designs for that. And this was what the designs I ended up going with for the characters. And this coloring page is available to download and to color if anybody wants to. It's just on my Instagram and my Blue Sky, so I'll include a link to that if you want to do that. And this was back to YouTube, where I did a YouTube video drawing characters from the Halloween Town movies. I just picked my favorite from each movie and redrew them and made a video, and it's fine. It's not particularly good. So I did the Pincushion Secretary is what her official name is, because I she's so cute. And I did Gort from the 2nd movie, because of course I did. He is definitively the best character in that movie, and his acting is so fucking good. And then I did Natalie from the 3rd movie. For the 4th movie, which I would not recommend watching, it's not very good, and like not even bad and entertaining in the way that the previous movies are. Like, except for the first one. The first one's just iconic, but anyway, like, I don't know, this movie was just so boring. But then my girlie, Persimmon Periwinkle, shows up for like 5 minutes in the middle, like near the end of the movie, and I love her. She is such a breath of fresh air in that fucking film. And I was like, oh my god, she is so cute. I need to draw her now. I was like actually worried that I wasn't going to have a character to draw when I was doing this project. But then she popped up and I was like, yay, okay, I have somebody I can draw now. Comic book class, where we had to find 2 cover arts. One that we wanted to remake just as it was, and I chose the cover for the deluxe version of Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko, which is one of my favorite manga. I love the manga so much. I actually can't bring myself to finish reading like the last chapter because I don't want it to be over, and I've literally had it for a couple years now. The other cover, what we had to do was like parody it again, and we were going to choose one of them to be our cover. So I chose a cover from one of the Betty Page comics, which I did not know existed, and then I just thought it worked really well since I already had a character based off of Betty Page in this book, and I already had another character named Betty because I did my Betty and Veronica remake. So I was just like, okay, yeah, this is what we're gonna be doing. I think this was just doodling. I was trying to draw mountains here, and I was like, nope, I don't like that. And then I did this like little comic of somebody saving a caterpie and like falling to try to catch it. I think I just wanted to work on like trying to figure out how to draw action. I will say, even though there's not a next page, they did not die. They got rescued by a Mew. They're fine. I had an idea for a piece based off of the Dance Macabre music video by Ghost. I worked on this and I still need to finish it. There's a couple spots that I want to edit digitally, even though I have it ready. I just need to fix those things and then it'll be good and I should post it because I really liked how it came out. This was the final assignment for Making Comics Semester 2 that I took. We just had to make a 4-page comic doing whatever we wanted. So this was my first couple sketches of like this possible character. And then I worked on her some more until she was the way I wanted it. I knew that I kind of just knew that I wanted her hair to be kind of these pom-pom shapes. And I wanted her to be really cool. Oh, these are a lot of fun. These were studies I did for a play I was watching. I went and saw a performance of Little Women, the musical, which I did not even know had been made into a musical. My university was putting it on and I loved the costuming in this play. I thought the costuming was so beautiful. I especially loved this like vest piece that the actress playing Jo was wearing, and I wanted to get the design down because it had this like beautiful embroidered design on the front, and I kept trying to doodle it while in the dark and also, you know, while people are moving on the stage. I really like this one that I captured as Meg was doing like a dance scene. But yeah, I just really loved the costuming in this. I can't remember his name, but he is I want to say he was a German professor who ends up marrying Jo in the end. The actor who played him, I thought he did such a good job. I really liked him, even though he's like not in the play that much, but I really liked his performance. I also got like this sketch of the stage because that was another thing I really liked. I don't know, I really liked the production of this play. I thought it was a lot of fun, and so I did this. And what was great is that like this outside shape of the house was was forward, like of the front of the stage, and then you would have the stage area, and then all of this was interactable. So the doors opened here, and then people would also walk up these set of stairs and would be able to sit in this upper attic area for scenes. There was also an entrance on this side, but yeah, I thought it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. By this point, I'm pretty sure it was winter break, so I wasn't in school anymore, but I already knew I was going to be going into my last semester at school, and I was an English major, but I was also so in love with the things I was doing for comics, and I wanted to take a comics class again. And when you take a comics class a third or fourth or like ongoing time, you start doing independent work. I was feeling ambitious and I wanted to keep doing comics, and I was also nervous about what I was going to do for my final thesis. I was like, I want to do a graphic novel. And I had already talked to who was going to be my advisor, and I was like, hey, can I do this for the English degree? And they're like, yeah, people have done that before. And I'm like, cool. So this character, her name is Samantha, and these were kind of some of my first ideas around her. And I just was thinking about like the things that I had been struggling with and was still struggling with around creativity and feeling burnt out and just feeling kind of scared about like what my future is going to hold and what it is I'm going to be doing next. So I was kind of thinking about like toying with some of those ideas through her. I really wanted her to be expressive, so I was playing with that. She comes up quite a bit in the sketchbook, but in the end, I ended up not doing this story. I did something else. And these ones are just some sketches for a different project I did. I was working on a submission for the silent manga audition. I can't show any of the pages, but I did finish it and I did submit it. So like fingers crossed for that. And these were some studies of some little people, because I had a character idea that I wanted to make who had dwarfism, which was just inspired by me seeing one of my neighbors walking to the apartment, and I was like, huh, they have dwarfism. You know, I don't know a lot about dwarfism. Maybe I should make a character like that, because I've realized that the way that I kind of learn about people who have different lives than me is I just make a character about them, and then I start learning about them. I start thinking about like how that would affect their lives and how it wouldn't affect their lives. I was looking up the actress who played Kaya in Willow, and I believe this was a referenced off of a Peter Dinklage picture. Yeah, and this was me just kind of working on designing the character more of the actress who played Kaya. Her name is Kiruna Stammel, and she's actually a musician too. I really like this polka dot dress she was wearing. I thought it was super cute. So this was going to be the character Samantha's like friend. Yeah, I was just working on designing her. I had her be somebody, like I was gonna have it be that she's somebody who enjoys hiking, and she does a lot of sewing and cooking. And here we start getting into the cookies. Oh, this has a slow wind up, but this kind of ends up consuming the rest of the book. I'm gonna be so honest. I started playing Cookie Run Kingdom because I was like, I feel like I need like a low-key game. Started with just some simple drawings of Ginger Brave and Strawberry Cookie. Got some of, oh, what is her name? Macaron Cookie, I think is her name. And there he is. Yeah, I succumbed, okay? I just did. It was my last comics class and I didn't have anything else to really do. So I started doing some Shadow Milk drawings. And I did this page. And then I did this page. And then I did this page of Pure Vanilla Cookie, because I was just like, okay, well, you know, might as well. But then I did this drawing. I hadn't even gotten to them in the story yet, but I could just feel, it was everybody online who I watch who are fans of these characters. I was getting infected with their brainworms about these guys. I did all of those in like one sitting, and then I came home and I colored this. And then I was like, okay, I gotta take a break from Shadow Milk and Pure Vanilla. I guess I'll just draw a Cream Puff Cookie. I think I was going through that part of the story in the early game. And okay, look, we learning, okay. And then I went right back to Pure Vanilla Cookie, drawing a woman version. And then I did like a woman version of Shadow Milk, which I know that he already like disguises himself as a girl canonically, and he can be whatever gender he wants. Like I could totally see him being gender fluid. But I just wanted to do like an actual, you know, gender swap version, not just the disguised design, even though that is super cute. So I did like kind of a very Harley Quinn inspired piece here. More Shadow Milks. I had an idea of like a modern AU where he is the singer in a punk band. Coming back to Samantha and that idea I had, it was during winter break and I was still just like, man, I need to get started. If I'm really gonna be able to do this idea, I need to get started on it. But I couldn't quite come up with an idea yet, so I thought maybe just drawing the character would help me out. Some drawings of a digital circus OC based off of a Beanie Baby I have. I have the dragon Beanie Baby named Scorch. This was just fun. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's just gonna be this, and that's fine. Going back to that AU idea I had of Shadow Milk as a punk character, so I just expanded it where I'm like punk X classical. So we have like Pure Vanilla as a classical musician and Shadow Milk as a punk musician. And the idea was that like Shadow Milk had the kind of, I don't know, it doesn't matter what the idea was. With this as the follow-up, Pure Vanilla goes, it was really good. You and your band were amazing. And it's like really sincere. I love this drawing of Shadow Milk. He's so cute. And more like playing off of those ideas. And then Wizard Cookie, where he did the line of calling me tiny was your last mistake. And I thought it was so funny. I was like, okay, I have to draw this little guy right now. And he's just cute. This was a redraw of that page that I showed before because I wasn't really satisfied with it, and I was like, okay, let's try it again. And so I did a new version. He goes, was it good? It was really good. You and your band were amazing. And I like this one where he's just like, fuck. Just kind of taken aback. Oh, this was a lot of fun. This was just a garden design that somebody did and posted on Pinterest. And this was like using things from the actual game. But I thought it was really cute, and I want to get more into practicing environments and backgrounds, so I just did a study based off of that. And then since this area was empty, I was like, okay, let's just add some Pure Vanilla, and he finally kind of looks like himself in this one. This was a study from Gilmore Girls. I was watching that for the first time. More Shadow Milk and Pure Vanilla, and this time they have like little doll versions of each other that they're playing with. I was trying to draw Sonic for some reason. I don't know. I started getting into Sonic stuff, and I was having such problems drawing him because he doesn't have a fucking neck. And I was like, how do I draw you if you don't have a neck? Drawings of my favorite of the main six. Not my favorite character, but my favorite of the main six. Some more Fluttershy studies. You know, more Fluttershy, but as a human and how I would design her. I had a lot of fun with this because I was only using 3 marker colors to do everything, and it was just fun playing around with it. Those early ponies were kind of awful. I decided to sit down and actually look at some like how to draw My Little Ponies and see what other people recommended. And I was like, cool, okay, I feel better now. I have like more of the structure. Let's try some more. And then I love this one. I'm just like, bro, why do you look like that? Again, it's fine. Making the mistakes is how we learn. Some human Pinkie Pie designs. Going back to that Samantha story, I was just doing some drawings of Lupe and trying to kind of get her character and again, get like what her proportions look like. Some more of the ponies. I think I was just trying to draw them like if I could figure out my own way of drawing them, which wasn't working. I made them kind of fluffy. And this was more ideas for, working on designing a second character for that silent manga edition contest I did. I love him. I ended up naming him Donnie because he looks just like Donnie from Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He is not the same character. But like they look kind of similar, and so I just decided to name him that. I was just like, there he is! He's so cute! I love him! Back to the Blorbos, so we have more Shadow Milk Cookie and Pure Vanilla Cookie. A lot of this was just looking at pictures on Pinterest of couples, or not just pictures, but like art of couples, and redrawing them with the characters. Priya, my baby girl. She is an original character, and she is, God, what do I say about her? She is essentially the end result of some pretty severe experimentation. That's why she has these canine teeth, and she has all of these scars on her. And she also does not speak. Part of what happened with the experimentation is that she lost her ability to speak. She is also just not really all there in her head. She's kind of broken, and I love her. She is also incredibly loyal once she attaches herself to a person, especially pretty much anybody who shows her like any real genuine kindness. she will love them wholeheartedly, and she will do everything she can to be there for them and to be with them and to take care, like not take care of them, but just to be around them. Including, like, she will do murder if she needs to. And I love her. She's so precious. I'm not gonna show the clip underneath because it's doing some Raven studies because I wanted to do some drawings of Uncle Raven from the new Albion stuff by Paul Shapira. I did this one and I really like him. I think he looks great, but I did not like how his cane looked. So I did some studies of ravens to see if I could figure out like a design for it. Studies of actual like canes that have these bird heads. It's funny because and then I did some, you know, studies of, God, what is it called? Like, oh, ringleaders, sorry, for circuses. To kind of just get like the posing, ideas for the outfits. I did a lot of work on this and then I never really came back to it. Some more studies. Studies from the anime Lovecom. I was watching that for the first time and it was really cute. I thought it was really funny. There was several moments that like made me laugh out loud and that was fun. Just some drawings of stuff from Tinkerbell. I think I was just watching the Tinkerbell movies again. They're kind of a comfort movie for me, so I watch them pretty often. Wintertime, I'll just be like, it's time to watch something cozy. Just doing some more practice. I think I found this on Pinterest, some notes about like face layouts. Would that be? I don't know, but like I thought it was cute. And then I did one like of a baby Deedlit because we were watching Record of Lotus War. These were studies from Pinterest. This was like a book cover. Some were studies of like other fan art, which I've really enjoyed doing this. And like I said, we were watching Record of Lotus War, so I started doing like some studies as we were getting through the last episode or the last two episodes, because the last two episodes dragged. Not the best. I will say I loved the first episode. If I was to recommend anything, I would say like just watch the first episode. But anyway, that like just doing some drawings of Deedlit. She is so pretty and she is definitely everybody's favorite thing, including the showrunners about that show. And we ended up watching Spirited Away. I did some studies of those. I really enjoyed making the soot sprites. Highly recommend. They were so much fun. Some figure studies and some drawings of Stray Kids. My sibling is really into Stray Kids and I told them I would make them some art of them, and I'm still hoping to do that at some point. I still need to do that. And they also have like little like animal sonas. So yeah. Pure Vanilla. Since I was still kind of struggling with drawing him, I decided to just sit down and do studies of like the official design and try to mimic it as best as I could and see what like all the pieces are, all the details. Did him in his regular form and then in his Truthless Recluse version. I added a bunch of like these things around. And I made a little cookie version of me where I'm just like, why he's so complicated? And the starter looks like, bitch, who knows? Then I tried to do Awakened Pure Vanilla version, which again is just, oh, it's so complicated. So I did more of him where he's not wearing all of his layers. Because I liked his hair. I really liked his foofy hair. And this one I started doing like these kind of redraws of pages I really liked from this anthology of BL short manga pieces. I just marked my favorites and started doing little recreations of them. And I did this one that was fun to play with by Noji. I really like just adding color. It's such a rare treat to see manga with color. On the flip side, I did a penciled version where it's just they're gender swapped. So it's still gay, but this time it's lesbian. Some more Shadow Milk, some more Pure Vanilla. Oh, they were doing like a special event in Cookie Run Kingdom where it introduced cheddar cheese cookie and macaroni cookie, and they're detectives, and I was just like, I love them. I thought they were so cute. And they're called mac and cheese, and I'm like, this is adorable. And I want more of them. I'm so sad that these are not cookies that you can get in the gacha. And I was still thinking about that story. with Samantha, and this time I was like looking at maybe putting it into more of a, like, into a fantasy setting. Oh, I guess this sketchbook does go into 2026. But like, yeah, this was getting into January and I was getting kind of nervous about my project coming up and how I hadn't made any progress and I didn't have a story idea. Making some practice pages, trying out ideas. This could have been a possible first page where it says, ever since I was small, I loved magic. I wanted to make magic and cast spells more than anything. But as I got older, I realized that there were so many others better at it than me. So it was no surprise when I was rejected from the local magic academy and 5 more across the continent. And now I'm here and I don't know what to do next. Tap, 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 tap. These were more studies from that anthology of BL stuff. And that's gonna be the end of it for now. I do have some other pages, but they ended up getting utilized for like a much bigger project that I want to save for a separate video. So we'll be coming back to this. But that's everything. That's the sketchbook tour. I don't know, this was just like a lot of fun to make and was probably the most fun I've had doing a sketchbook in years. And I've been taking a lot of the things I've been doing with this one into other sketchbooks. But like you saw, there was a lot of stuff from my comics class that was in here, and I promised I would show final versions. Okay, these are not going to be in any particular kind of order. It's just the way that they were, that I found them. So this was the Betty and Veronica one I remade, and I actually, after they got scanned, I went in and Clip Studio Paint and I added screen tones to kind of just add a little something something to this, which was a good like practice. And this ended up being the cover that I made. One thing I do wish I did is that I wish I would have like colored the monster like gray or brown just to make it stand out against the snow a little bit. I wanted to use a primary color palette, so yellow, blue, and red. And we have Paige here on the front, and I have all of the like main characters from all the different comics I made for this as like little dolls floating around. This was my remake of the Yokohama Kadashi Kiko cover. So this was the first one I did where I did all the inking. I loved working on the hatching on this. I loved it so much. I thought it was like, it looks so pretty and it's something I really want to like borrow into my own work. But I really didn't want to ruin the coloring. I was like, I didn't want to ruin this page, the first page I did of the inks, where I'm just like, it looks so nice and I don't want to ruin it. So I actually asked my teacher to make a copy of it so that I could do the colors, and this was all watercolors. And it worked okay. Here's the horror comic I did. I will say, warning for blood and gore. Maybe I'll put like a little timestamp to skip. Yeah, I'll put a timestamp to skip if you don't want to see any of this. But yeah, this was my dinner time one. We have page 1. And I was playing a lot with silhouettes and with shadows. I wanted like really hard shadows. Our teacher was encouraging us to really experiment with black and with pushing the chiaroscuro, which is the meeting of light and dark. My partner loves this page, this panel here. They also love this one. But again, like using those silhouettes to kind of try to show other things that's going on. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Like, my partner really likes it. I don't know, horror's not my main thing, but I did do a good, like playing with the shadows and whatnot. And my fantasy 2-page comic called A Small Quest. We weren't expected to color it. Coloring was optional. I was literally the only person who colored for this assignment. Everybody was like, wow, you put in all that work. And I was just like, well, I thought it was expected to be colored, so I did it for no reason. And I did all of this with colored pencil, which I hadn't done. Most of the stuff we'd done before was using watercolors or doing ink washes. And for this page, gosh, this took forever. Doing all of these little individual leaves and putting all the patterns in, but I had a vision and I wanted to fulfill it. This poor girly pop, I made her arms and her shoulders so big. Like because I believe I wanted her to be like a blacksmith. I wanted her to be kind of a buff girly, but it doesn't quite look right, which is my own fault for not practicing. And here we get to the comic zine I did. Here's the coloring page, which like I said is available if anybody wants to download it and color it. I just ask that if you share it online or anything, just, you know, could you tag me or like tell me, like, I don't know, send me a link. I want to see what you did. And the first page, and for coloring, I did my Copic markers for this one, which I only have a handful of Copic markers. So I was working with a limited color palette, and this was another one where I think I chose like the primary color scheme of yellow, blue, and red. And I also have some grays to kind of try to balance it out. I will say I'm not in love with this method, but I wanted to try something else, something new, something different. This page is just like the first, you know, a round of questions. And this is where I put in a lot of jokes in this, okay? And I don't think all of them land. My favorite joke on here is Lucy, who says her favorite type is O negative. And that's a reference to the fact that this is such a stupid joke. So it's a reference to the fact that in the original Dracula story, she ends up getting a blood transfusion from like all 3 of her suitors. And I'm just, every time I watch it, I think to myself, I'm like, man, it's a really good thing that all of them have universal blood type, which is O negative. This was the page of fake advertisements. My favorite one on here is the date night. Don't forget our monster slime. Oh, it was 2 pages of, gosh, I can't count, guys. Yeah, we had to do 2 pages of advertisements. One that was like one main ad and one that was covered in a bunch of ads. And so for my second ad, I made this. Are you a lonely creature of the night looking for love? Join Monster Fuckers today. This page, I had an idea, and I will say, trying to show when the lights went off, I think just coloring it all gray was a little bit too far. I think it makes it really hard to see, which is a bummer, but that's okay, we live and learn. And this was the last page, where I just have Lucy being an eternal flirt and being like, okay guys, let's go on a date. They're like, oh, you too hungry? There's a village down the road. This is a quiz for who is your monster date, playing off of like those teen magazines, how they'll have like, I don't know if they still do those, but when I was younger, they had these little quizzes where it's like, who's your perfect date? And you could follow them on here. And here's the final version of the fantasy comic, or not the fantasy, but the 4-page comic I did. This was another one where I did a lot of experimenting, which sometimes works and sometimes didn't. For this one, a lot of the coloring is done with watercolor and colored pencil. So like all of this in the background is watercolor, but then the shading is in pencil, and a lot of the coloring I did for the characters is done with pencil, which if I had to redo it, I don't think I'd do that. I think I would do all watercolor, and then I would come back with colored pencils and kind of do like little touch-ups and textures. Either way, we're going to the floating city of Seri. Another thing I did with this comic is I challenged myself to do it panelless, which means there are no panels, and that is a double-edged sword. Drawing this building took forever. And it's definitely something I need to work on. And this is what I mean by panelless. So we have this section, which is essentially like one scene of them taking this dirigible over to the island. And then this, which is another section of them getting some food and figuring out where they need to go. And this is a third section. And if you're not used to like reading comics, this can probably be a little confusing. Again, learning experience, I now know better. And I'm so glad I did this challenge. And this page is crazy for that. The thing is that, so like I showed this to my teacher and my teacher's like, wait, how do you read it? Do you read it this side first or this side? And I'm like, so technically they are happening at the same time, so you can read it either way. Because they are essentially doing like a little heist thing. So we have Wes, who's like distracting the owner of the home at the same time that, I can't remember names, at the same time as this character is breaking in to steal this item. This is probably the closest to a panel that I made in this thing, because there wasn't really any easy way to like make it distinct. But yeah, they managed to steal the diamond. They have a whole thing going. Here was the comic for that thing I was making for one of my partners. And in this, I played a lot with the hatching on this one, especially because it's happening at sunset. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna go full in on the shadows in this one. I forget their names, but she's a witch and he's a demon of some kind, and he is still kind of getting used to the whole being around people and being part of humanity thing. Yeah, I was playing a lot with just adding lines to kind of create a sense of shadows. And I feel like when the sun is at the point where it's setting, it's almost like it can get even brighter before it sets completely. Finally, one of my favorite things I've made, even though it's a little messy, is this Dance Macabre print page. I don't know, like it has issues. I need to like just digitally, I need to fix him. I need to fix his just whole face. And there's a couple smudges here and there that happen, but I love the steepling on this guy. I really like how it came out. It was a lot of fun to work on. I love his face, I love her face, like all of them look so good. This is something that I'll be someday finishing online, like on my computer digitally, and just clean up a few things. It'll probably take me less than an hour, so I should really just sit down and do it. But this is what it looks like right now. And I love it. It's pretty. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching and for making it to this point. I like to keep my outros nice and short, so if you're interested in more stuff like this, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Leave a comment down below if you want to. I'd love to hear from people and like say hi and whatnot. I also have some social media links down there and a list of the songs I used in this video. Those are all in the description. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, whatever, and I will see you next time. Bye!